on the dot, and then I'll start the throat clearing exercise.
All set.
All right. Thanks so much, Antoine. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a public hearing being held by the Board of Pharmacy to receive comments on 3 proposed rulemakings. I'm Jay Campbell. I'm the Executive Director of the Board of Pharmacy. Obviously, I'm not a member of the board. I'm part of the staff, and I will be facilitating the comments today. Just some for those members of the public who are on and who may wish to speak to any of the proposed rules. Let me give you a little bit of an outline of how we're going to proceed. We're going to go through this rulemaking by rulemaking so that we can get some consolidation and consistency in the comments and make sure it's easy to remember and note who is commenting on which rule. So I will introduce each rule, and then at that point I will pause for any member of the public who wishes to make a comment. If you wish to address any comments to a rule, if you would please in the chat function on your Teams interface, if you will indicate that you wish to speak to a rule, Antoine Pryor, our IT administrator, will announce that you wish to speak, and you'll be recognized to make the comments that you wish to make about that particular rule. And then as commentary ends or comes to a sort of a natural conclusion on any particular rule, we will move on to the next rule. Other procedural reminders, this is an opportunity to provide comment. A public hearing really isn't to ask the board members questions or staff. It's providing your comment on the proposed rule. This meeting is being recorded, so we'll be able to keep track of everyone's comments on each rule. And the final reminder is that just the standard Teams /Zoom /WebEx you name the platform here. When you are not speaking, please do keep your microphone muted so that we won't have chatter talking over. So I will pause for just a second. It looks like there are a few folks joining in. And I am going to start then by introducing the first rule on which the board will be happy to receive comment, and that is proposed new rule 21 NCAC 46.2515, remote work by pharmacy personnel. Brief introduction: during the COVID public health emergency, pharmacy personnel have been able to perform certain work outside the pharmacy under a Board of Pharmacy emergency service waiver, and some other states' laws permit pharmacy personnel to perform remote work. During a recent notice and comment period for other board rules, those would be the board rules that have been proposed to govern inter-pharmacy or RMOE services. Many commentators requested that the board adopt this proposed rule in order to provide for permitted pharmacy locations in North Carolina to allow remote work other than physical acts in the dispensing process on a permanent basis, and to approve out-of-state permitted pharmacy locations to provide similar services for North Carolina patients to the extent permitted by their home states. So that is the proposed rule, and I will pause to see if there are folks who wish to provide comment on that. And again, if you're just joining us, if you wish to provide comment, if you would please, in the chat function, indicate that you wish to do so, and Antoine Pryor, the board's IT administrator, will let me know, and you'll be recognized to speak. So I will pause. Antoine, I'm not seeing anything here
Nope, not at all. There's no comments or request to comment at all.
Okay. Well, then I will, if there's no comment on this proposed rule, I will move to the next proposed rule. The next proposed rule that the board has published for notice and comment are amendments to Board Rule 21 NCAC 46.1503, as well as conforming amendments to a number of other board rules. The purpose for these amendments is as follows. The Pharmacy Practice Act requires all applicants for initial licensure and certain reinstatement and reciprocity candidates to complete practical experience to be licensed, and further requires the Board of Pharmacy to adopt regulations to, quote, assure that the person successfully completing the program will have gained practical experience that will enable him to safely and properly practice pharmacy. Applicants or others who are gaining practical experience are collectively referred to in North Carolina law as, quote, pharmacy interns. Just a quick thing, I think I hear somebody may have their mic unmuted and hearing some knocking noises. So just a gentle reminder, if you're not speaking, if you would make sure that your mic is muted. Thank you. The board has proposed to amend Rule 1503 to provide for a uniform system by which those gaining practical experience can sign up with the board and can easily document and verify their practical experience hours through an online system. Moreover, in recent years, a handful of individuals have falsely claimed to be pharmacy students or recent graduates who are entitled to work as pharmacy interns, who are allowed to engage in all acts constituting the practice of pharmacy under the supervision of pharmacists. These individuals who lacked pharmacy educational training thereby created a risk of harm to the public safety, health, and welfare in order to defraud their employers. And this was made easier because previously, in order to verify whether an individual was entitled to work as a pharmacy intern, that individual's prospective employer would have to contact pharmacy schools directly. The proposed new uniform system will make it easier to ensure that only those who are entitled to work as pharmacy interns are able to do so. So that is the purpose of these proposed rule amendments. I will now stand by to see if there are any members of the public who wish to make any comments on this rule. Everyone, I'll give it just a minute or two just to make sure that everyone's had an opportunity if they wish to speak. Antoine, I'm not seeing anything. Are you seeing anything?
No, not at all. No comment or request for comment.
Very good. We will move to the final proposed rulemaking. The next rulemaking that the board has proposed are amendments to Board Rules 21 NCAC 46.1606 and 1607. The background on these rules is as follows. Current rules require the pharmacist manager for each permit applicant to meet personally with board staff before the board will grant a permit. These meetings have traditionally been a means of imparting knowledge about North Carolina pharmacy law and board procedures. These meetings are an inefficient way to provide that information, and the result of that burden has been that out-of-state permit applicants often have not named their actual pharmacist manager as the pharmacist manager on their North Carolina applications, thereby creating a disconnect between the person who is legally responsible for the compliance with North Carolina law and the person who actually supervises the pharmacy. The principal purposes of the proposed changes are to substitute an online educational module in place of the in-person meeting and to require that the pharmacist manager on the North Carolina permit match the pharmacist manager in the pharmacy's home state. In addition, Rule 1607 concerning out-of-state pharmacy permits has not been revised in 15 years. The board has proposed general updates to that rule largely to A, clarify and emphasize certain matters that have been subject to periodic questions from the regulated entities, B, more accurately reflect modern board procedures and practices, C, remove repetitive requirements contained elsewhere, and D, refer to other laws and rules covering certain matters rather than attempting to restate them, which has sometimes resulted in incomplete, inconsistent, and confusing descriptions of those laws. So that is the background on proposed amendments to rules 1606 and 1607. So if there's any member of the public who wishes to provide commentary on either, now would be the time.
There's a request for comment from Janu.
Yep, Janu, go right ahead.
Good morning, board. Board members, my name is Janu Phillip, Director of Pharmacy Affairs for Walgreens. I appreciate the opportunity to provide comments on these rules. The rule, the first portion of the rule, we have no issues with regarding the removal of the in-person meeting requirement under 1606. So no concerns with that. With all the recommended changes to 1607, for the most part, we think they're good amendments, and we have no concerns with the majority of them. There is one portion of 1646.1607 that we do have a concern with, and that is section C9, subsection C9, which is within 5 days of receipt, provide the board with any inspection report from any state boards of pharmacy or other agency that regulates the pharmacy, the Food and Drug Administration, or the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy. So this is a requirement that is very different from many other locations or many other states that have allow for out-of-state pharmacies. So we have 22, Walgreens has 22 non-resident pharmacy locations, and I'm not aware of any of these locations that are required to submit inspection reports outside of the normal renewal process, or in some states potentially require like self-inspections. So this, I guess, first of all, I think one of the reasons that the changes to the rule were made was around, I think the terminology used was more accurately reflecting modern board procedures and practices. And I think while the remainder of the rules changes that are in place are consistent with that reason, we don't believe that the submission of this 5 days, within 5 days of receipt of the inspection, is not really considered standard practice, and we don't believe it reflects modern procedures and practices as was stated in the reason. Some other reasons: it does create a severe administrative burden on non-resident pharmacies. It's somewhat disruptive for an out-of-state pharmacy to remember this process, especially when some of our facilities hold many non-resident licenses, and it differs appreciably from all other states. So it's very easy that it could lead to a missed window and result in potential discipline. And that potential discipline, because they hold many other non-resident pharmacy permits, has the potential for piggyback discipline, which is when one state takes action against another state for disciplinary by a sister state. And what's even more concerning is when the inspection itself could be clean, but the failure to submit that inspection leads to discipline. We also believe that the submission of the inspection report to be unnecessary. If there are violations within the inspection that rise to the level of action, that resident state's pharmacy board conducts the inspection, has a prerogative to initiate administrative complaints or disciplinary action. And then there is a portion of this rule that does require that notification of such discipline occur. And so the other reason that we're opposed to this is the administrative burdens and additional burdens that are tied to this without being really grounded in known safety concerns. So we have not seen any evidence provided at a high level that this level of administrative effort to provide inspection reports within 5 days is absolutely necessary. Again, no other states we're aware of have this, this requirement. And then the 5-day window, in addition, is a very short time frame to submit inspection reports, especially when there are so many reasons why it could be easy to miss that that submission. Just think about if a pharmacist in charge is on leave or on vacation, or it's just simply administrative oversight. So those are all potential reasons. So we would object to the addition of the new inspection reporting requirement, and we would request that requirement be stricken for all the reasons I just stated. And we would be amenable to submission of the report annually, or with the license renewal. And an alternative would be to perform a self-inspection, as some states do. So I appreciate the opportunity to comment, and available for questions if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Janu, for your comments. Janu, I think your hand's still up, but I assume that there you. Any other comments? Antoine, I'm not seeing anything on my end.
Nothing on my end as well.
Very good. Well, as a reminder to all who are on the call, the public comment period on each of these rulemakings extends through February close of business on Monday, February 14th. So anybody who was on this call or anyone else who wishes to make any additional comment on the rule is free to provide a written comment by February 14th. The rulemaking notice provides an email address through which written comments may be submitted. So take a look at that if you want to follow up with any written comments. And still seeing no one waiting in the chat room, I will declare this public hearing closed. And thanks to all who took time to provide written comments and or listen today. And Janu, thank you for providing your verbal comments today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, that concludes this hearing then, and we will look forward to consideration of these comments as the rulemaking moves forward. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank y'all.
Ashley, Andy, and Wallace, have a good day.